Assalamu alaikum. Let's make sure we not. Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum.
alaikum.
I don't know
We're
why.
echoing.
Yeah, we echoing. Let me find out why. We look like it's two of us. Okay, I don't want to add that. This is fine. Okay. I'm gonna add one. Okay, I should be okay now. I don't know why it's two of us on here.
Can you exit one?
That's what I'm trying to do. I don't want to do that. I don't know why I'm asking. Okay. Why won't it move? Let me just make sure. Okay. I don't know why I got two of these screens on here. And I don't want to echo. Let me see. Let me try to remove
All right. So we got. There you go.
this. Okay. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think I got it fixed now. Think I got it fixed. Assalamu alaikum, family. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Mind Spark Creation. And we appreciate you all tuning in with us, whether it's now or in the future. We really do appreciate you all tuning in with us. We got a very special guest today, our beloved sister Imani Muhammad. She's going to be talking about her powerful book, The Art of Living.
Yes.
So you all know we're going to be in for a good time today. We're going to be in for a good time today. The book was absolutely fantastic. So looking forward to getting into this fireside chat. But you already know we're going to give you the product of the week. And then we're going to give you a little theme music and get started. All right, and the product of the week is Paximune. Paximune, if you don't have yours, let us know. We can get it to you. We are proud distributors of the Paximune that helps to modulate your immune system. You know that's something we need in an hour like this.
That's right.
So definitely if you don't have yours, just hit us in the chat, hit us in the inbox, let us know that you need to get your Pax Immune, okay? And we'll definitely get it to you. All right. Okay, and you know how we do it. We know it's early now. You know it's early. So we want to wake you up with a little bit of theme music. Go ahead.
I thought we had another one that we had used for a sample. Oh, I just told them I want to order today. We paid already.
Yeah.
Praise God.
All right. All right, all right. We're not gonna give y'all the whole thing now. We're not gonna give y'all the whole thing now. Now, for all my steppers out there, I know y'all can appreciate that. I know y'all can appreciate that right there.
That's
You
right.
know, we Chi-Town natives around here, so you gonna get a little steppers music in. You got to.
Born and raised.
Born and raised. All right, family. So we are blessed today, and so are you. Whether you know it or not, we are blessed today. We have our sister Imani Muhammad in the building, family. You know, all praises is due to Allah. She got a wonderful book out that you definitely need to get, and that book is called The Art of Living. I mean, man, I got some stuff for you, and we're gonna get some, you know, if you will, some exclusive content. We're gonna dig in deep into the mind and get to hear what she meant by what she said. All praises is due to Allah, you know. So we are honored today. We are blessed to have our beloved sister, Sister Imani Muhammad, with us. This sister does a plethora of things. She works with the youth. She's all about literacy, you know. She's all about literacy and what is it? Books, not bars. Is that right?
Yes,
Books,
sir.
not bars.
All
Okay,
right.
right, right. Books, not bars. So we know
Mm.
this sister is heavy into literacy. I just remember one time in Chicago, we had the literacy night. And brother, you know, I don't remember what his new name is now, but brother Jason, he was just talking about how uh, illiterate we are in our community. And he was talking about that basically, even in our conversation, he said that the average conversation between a family is 5 minutes, and the
Mm.
majority of that is disagreement with one another.
Wow.
Mm,
So
mm.
that's crazy, but I mean that is true. So this is something that definitely we need to promote more and more literacy. I was talking with my son just the other day about how I was inspired to read as a young man. We had shows on like the Reading Rainbow. You know,
Right.
we still remember
Yes.
LeVar Burton, and you know, I can still sing the song. You know,
Please don't.
I won't,
Mhm.
but I can still sing the song. You know, and he said we could go anywhere, just take a look and read a book.
Come
And that's
on.
And that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true.
That's
Brother
right.
LaBoy, welcome, 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 welcome to the show. We appreciate you all. Well, we're gonna give the opportunity. I'm gonna let my wife, you know, start it off
okay.
today and talk to my beloved sister.
All right. Well, praise God. We thank Allah who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. All right, guys. Welcome, peace and blessings. We appreciate you all, my beloved sister, Sister Imani Muhammad. It is an honor to have you on the show today. Can you?
I'm trying. I mean, if I
I don't
tried
know
to
if you
tap
all can
that
hear the
thing,
echo. He's trying to get rid
Mhm.
of it,
trying
but
to
we're going to
get
keep
rid of
moving
that.
because we know sometimes we have people that interfere with what it is that we're trying to do, but we don't let nothing stop us.
That's right.
Okay, I think I got it.
All right. So, my beloved
Is it still?
sister,
No, it's still echoing.
okay, that's all right. Um, the way that we like to get started, if you can tell us a little bit more about yourself, I always think that the person can really give us a better idea of who they are than me reading a bio. So if you can share with us a little bit about yourself and why you wrote that book.
Absolutely. First and foremost, assalamu alaikum to the family and the listeners. Thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor anytime I believe that, one or two or three or 1,000 of us come together and talk about information that's what we call revelation, right? And
Yeah.
so I love having this conversation. Both of your energy, mind you, I'm all the way in Portland, but I'm like ready to just jump through the screen. So the spirit is high. I love it. And I just had to say that part. So, for those that may not know who I am, again, I'm born and raised in Portland, Oregon. Yes, there are Black people there. So let me just get that out there. And it's more than my family. There's a few of us. We are here. And there's a whole history of how we got here, but we don't have, that's not today's fireside chat. Okay. But we are there in Portland. We are here. I, grew up playing basketball. I have an older brother. And at 16, I joined the Nation of Islam. I'm fast forwarding because I think these are very key points of how I got to writing the book that I wrote. Joined the Nation of Islam sophomore year at a Catholic school. And my brother had joined the nation. Right. My brother had joined the nation like a year ahead of me. And so I joined the nation, did not really know what I joined, but I just knew that I was always of the belief that if God was then, where is he today? Right. And everything that I read of the Bible and every scripture and every teaching that I had received was a really great history. But I was always looking for God today. Where is God today? So like if Noah and Job and all of those folks existed, great. I'm here right now. So for me, the Nation of Islam gave me a reality of God, a here and now of God. I didn't always understand the concept of Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, but I always knew that it was current and it made sense. So that was really the foundation of what drove me to the nation and joining the nation. And so on, years and years, I've worked with youth, as you mentioned. I've worked 20 plus years in youth development. And in 2010, I started my own nonprofit, which is called Youth Organized United to Help. And that may sound familiar because our 2008 Savior's Day, the Youth Savior's Day. I was blessed to be one of the youth facilitators of a workshop. And that really was a foundational year for me in terms of understanding what I believe is my purpose. And so at that time, I remember writing Brother Ishmael's office, asking permission to use the name Youth. And I was granted permission. And from there, I started doing youth summits in my own city. And here we are. So fast forwarding to the Books Not Bars piece that you mentioned. Books Not Bars was a digital campaign that was launched in 2019. Myself and my business partner, we co-founded it. And the Books Not Bars OR, the OR stands for Oregon. So Books Not Bars OR was a digital campaign to raise awareness around the school to prison pipeline epidemic that we know is happening nationwide, but Oregon really has it pretty significantly bad, especially with our percentage of Black and brown youth. And so it started off as just raising awareness. We wanted to raise awareness to 1 million people, and we were one of 10 nonprofits across the nation that was pushing the school to prison pipeline epidemic. And we wanted to dismantle it, right? How do we find ways to target it? But once you launch a digital campaign, and you probably already know, social media wise, people want more. They're like, okay, what is Books Not Bars? Tell us more. And so it became our program branch of our nonprofit. And so from there, we have done book drives. We've raised money to purchase books that have Black and brown characters for children so they can see themselves, because representation matters. We've done trainings for educators on implicit and explicit bias. We know that 70% of teachers are white females, you know, and so if they're in front of our children, they naturally are going to have certain biases due to their own upbringing, and we know the history. So how do we get them to see our children if they can, right? If they're willing to see our children in the right light. So I know that this is not all the intro that you asked me, but I just wanted to give a timeline of how we got to where we are today. And so Books Not Bars is doing some good work here in Portland. We just actually held our first, in partnership with another organization, our first Black Literacy Summit, where we had educators from all across the United States, New York, Oakland, speaking on the science of reading, speaking on how literacy is so important, speaking on how textbooks, this is another piece, how textbooks are only written for 30% of the population as a general, only 30%. So if you got learning disabilities, dyslexia, anything like that, those textbooks are not even going to reach you. Right. And that's just based on how the science of how they create books. So there's so much more. And so I think, again, The Art of Living, the book that we will get into, it's been in me for many, many years. When do you have time to write a book, right? When COVID hit last year, I was able to be off work only for 2 months, because the type of work we do summer programs, all of that. So I was at home for 2 months and I wrote the book. And the first edition of the book was 9 pages. And when I gave it to some people, they were like, okay, this is great, but we need, like, how did you get there? How did you get to that understanding of whatever it was? Because I'm just a very straightforward person. I'm like, look, Allah came in the person, Master Muhammad. He's a man. I don't know what y'all looking for. You know, I'm just, so people are like, I get it. I can believe that, but just can you give us a little bit of how you got there? Because maybe that's what will get them, you know. And so I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So the edition that has now come to fruition is 60 something pages. And I actually transcribed an interview that I did with myself. I interviewed myself on my Instagram Live.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's how the context and the content came through in that book. And then I added a little bit more of just my personal story. So that's really, you know, for me, it's been how do I take the teachings and apply it in a way, not that I needed to, because the teachings are fine all by itself without my help. But how do I make it to where people can see it as universal, right? When we say God is a man and we put, you know, Master Farah Muhammad on it, that resonates with many of us. But how can we take that same truth and align it in other people's belief systems to make it make sense, right? So maybe they don't name, you know, the God by this proper name, but maybe they understand that you and I are force, and power, and being, right? So how do we get people to understand that we have that same knowledge and power, but maybe not under the same language as the nation, right? And again, not that I needed to do that, but over my years, I've filtered everything through the teachings, everything that I've studied, every religion, every conversation. And so I'm able to find truth within that. So I'm gonna stop talking because
no,
you
right on it, sis. I'm
That's why
enjoying.
we invited you here to talk.
That's right.
Praise be to Allah.
Understanding your journey, you know, really is going to help our audience, you know, to appreciate the book even that much more. You know, and one of the things that we're supposed to do is to raise the dead.
That's
the
right.
dead is everywhere, and when you're dead, you don't always comprehend the light, you know. So we do have to bring it to our people in a way where they can understand it, relate, and then bring them up to the understanding that God came in a person, the Master Farad Muhammad, you know. And so Minister Farrakhan does such an excellent job with that. When he's in the churches, he comes and show them Jesus, you know, and he expressed to them, you know, the life of Jesus, and then bring them up to modern times,
Right.
you know,
That's
which is
right.
what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wants us to do. So I'm going to kind of let my husband at this point ask some more detailed questions about the book,
Absolutely.
and move forward from there. But share as much as you want, sis. We have at least an hour to an hour and a half.
All right. Yes.
All right. So So I'm going to start with some quotes from this wonderful book, and then we're going to delve deep into the mind of Sister Imani. All right. So she said this. She said that the art of a thing is the expression of creative skill and imagination, the various branches of creative activity. Living is to be alive, the pursuit of a lifestyle. The art of living is defined as the creative activity one chooses to live, not just to exist. Not now.
Beautiful.
I'm like, okay, that's power pack in itself. I mean, so when you said that, the fact that you said the art of living, number one, which gives us some clue that there's like a paintbrush that we kind of paint our life with, and you got to use certain strokes and colors and all of these things to paint this beautiful picture called life. But what is the difference between living and existing?
Mm, 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 mm. Whew, praise be to Allah. When you hear your words or hear the words, because I can't claim it. When you hear the words again, it's like, wow. You know, I yeah. So when we look at the Black community, I'll look at us first, but this is universal. But when you look at our communities and we look at how many of us are paycheck to paycheck. Many of us, when you look at the median family income, comparing it to blacks and whites are like 100 something thousand, blacks are 14, 16,000, whatever the numbers are. We literally are just surviving. And Sister Ava said it one year in one of her lectures of many books, probably several times. But Sister Ava made it plain. She talked about how when you are surviving, your ability to create, your ability to think outside the box, your ability to have a future mindset is null and void. You don't think beyond the moment. You cannot create a reality outside of the natural what's happening right now. And so many of us are in that state of mind, which creates a society and a culture of what we see today. You see our young people, instant gratification, quick money, easily offended, emotional intelligence is zero. And a lot of that is because we're in a survival mentality. And so that's that existing. We just exist. We're here. But for me, the understanding of what art is, right? Art, that definition of art came from Jose Arguelles. And Jose Arguelles is a brother who has since passed, but he studied heavily with Mother Tynetta and the Mayan culture. And the definition or the equation is energy multiplied by time equals art. And that when I hear that, to me, that's the same thing as force and power equals God, right?
Yeah.
So whatever we put our energy to, and we multiply that by the time that we do that thing, that becomes art, right? So the art of living is what are we putting our energy and minds to? What are we focusing on as human beings? Is it our purpose, or are we just here, right? So how much intention are we putting on our existence? And when we put our intention on our existence and we really work out our purpose in this life, then we can create art, which becomes our living expression of who we are, right? And so, again, these are just different play on words that we've been given in the teachings. We know that if we're not, it's like the science of business. Business is, you can be busy doing stuff, or you can be in the art of business actually producing things, right? Moving your life forward. Many of us are busy running around in circles, surviving paycheck to paycheck, but how many of us are actually executing and living our purpose and leaving something for the next generation, right? Leaving, whether it's physical things or planting seeds for the next generation. So I think a lot of times when we I've studied Dianetics, and Dianetics talks about the dynamics, right? Survival dynamics, and there's a certain number of dynamics, right? And apathy, and then there's tone levels that get into that. So when you're just existing, you're apathetic at times. Your tone scale is low. We see people walking these streets right now, and they're depressed. They don't know left from right. They have no hope. To me, that's existing, right? We just here, and the breath in our lungs is what lets us know we're alive. But beyond existing, we got to get to thriving and living, right? Living life. I never want my son to just see, oh, mommy's just here. No, Imani and mommy is working, right? Mommy is putting things in place, and he can see an expression of living, right? So that to me, that's the difference between existing and living. When you're living, not that you don't have struggles, not that you don't, have high and low days and have moments, right? But when we're truly living, that's where you see civilizations and nation building, right? That's where you start seeing some products of stores and mosque and church or whatever. Like, that's true living, right? And so I think that's where, to me, that's why I love the nation, and that's what the nation is, the example of what true living is. We've got a lot of idealistic and a lot of scholars in our communities, but what are we producing? So that takes it from that existence stage and getting into that living stage. So that's how I see the difference of those two principles. And again, to me, it starts with our intention. What is our intention? How are we using our energy, breath of life? And what are we doing with it? Right. And what do we do with our time with it? Do we just let a whole day go by and say, I'll get to it tomorrow? Or are we waking up and saying, this is what I have right now, and let me execute for the future, right?
Yes,
wow.
ma'am.
Wow. All right. So
that beautifully said, sis. Just looking at most of us, like you said, living paycheck to paycheck. We don't take the time.
Right.
And I think 2020 did allow a lot of people to see themselves differently and have to. It was like, it was still survival, but it was like personal survival. I'm
Right.
not going to get a job. I got to figure out how I can make it on my own, how
Yeah.
I can do something with the skills that I've been given to make happen.
Right.
And I know personally, I've seen a lot of new businesses develop during 2020,
Yep.
and so in the midst of our existing, if we pull on the creative juices of ourselves and others, then we can start living and enjoying it. It becomes fun because
Yes.
that's what it is that we love to do anyway.
Right.
Now we can, get some money behind it.
Right.
And I know for me, raising a couple of young girls, I wanted them to be creative. I wanted them to be free of stress of life, of what they have to do, and enjoy what they like to do and want to
Right.
do.
Yes.
I think we have to create an environment like that for our children,
Yes.
so that they can get in their spirit at a young age that it is about the true expression of God and not just going to make some money.
Right. Right. And I just thank you, because I want to say something on that too. We may know all the problems, and that's the thing. A lot of what I wrote in there is solution based, right? We know why we are in an existing state of mind, right? We know the factors. We know that it's set up, right? Like, there is a reason that society and the unseen hand has us all chasing the way that we're chasing, right? Because again, if you're never living, then I could take everything from you. Right. I can take everything from you. So there's a reason, but I just want to acknowledge that to whoever's listening, because it's not that we're stepping over the causes, but what we are saying is that now that we know that this is a situation, what is our personal obligation and our personal accountability to help ourselves, right? Think outside the box, help ourselves not be in this rat race, as Bob Marley called it. Is a rat race. We just chasing, somebody else's dream. So I just wanted to name that. It's not that we sorry. Not that we don't want to spend time on the why, because we do know the why. That's a whole nother conversation. But again, just putting that personal responsibility on us as individuals. Once you have awakened, we now have an obligation.
That's right.
All right. That's what I'm talking about. So I got another quote. It
Okay, now.
says, it says, I cannot stress enough the importance of doing a self assessment to determine the source of your knowledge. Do you get your knowledge from TV, parents, radio, social media, or friends? The source of knowledge determines how you can move to the next step of wisdom.
Mm.
Now, here's my question on that.
That's beautifully said.
How does one go about the assessing of themselves to determine where that knowledge comes from?
I think the first step, well, let me take it back here. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, with the help of Sister Ava, and probably a few others in the Executive Council, back in the 80s, gave us the Self-Improvement Study Guide.
Come on.
And the Self-Improvement Study Guide said the basis for community development. So it already told us where we had to start. We had to start with self, right? And for me, I believe that truly we have to be mathematicians and scientists. So we have to really examine our own, as I said, where do we put our energy? So if we know that there's 24 hours in a day, or 23 hours, 56 minutes, 46 seconds in a day, right? Then we gotta look at our day mathematically. Right. So if I sleep 6 to 8 hours, do that subtraction, how much left do I have, and what am I doing with that time? Where do I receive my information? And so much. I mean, COVID is a perfect example. This COVID-19 virus and the propaganda and how the news stations only tell one side of it.
Right.
That they don't even give us any other alternative to a thought process outside of, what if I don't take the vaccine? Let's just consider that. Right. So it was a perfect example. And those of us that have been in the nation, whether it's a year or 20 years, we were given a lens to look at the world, right? We were given a filter. And so you see how an agenda is always on the table for whatever like I said, TV, you turn on social media, an ad pops up, whatever it is, there's always an agenda. And so I think that, again, when we look at our lives and look at our body as a mathematical entity, right, we start assessing. So if I sleep for 8 hours a day, how much time do I give my children? Okay, that's another 2, maybe, if you get 2. Okay, I work for another 8 hours. So when we start looking at our lives like that, that begins the start of the self-assessment. And we really have to be honest and willing to do that. And that's the thing, back to what Sister said, when COVID hit, we were faced to look in the mirror. Now, some people still didn't look in the mirror, and they still doing what they were doing pre-COVID, and they still lost, right? Still looking for the next club, the next whatever happening. And I think, again, when we start there, just assessing, where do we spend our time? What do we listen to? Who are your friend circle? I did a training with some young people, but it applies to adults too. And there's a quote that says, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future.
Ooh.
Right? Just show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future. So what is it about the peer group that has that much influence, right? So that's what I mean by checking your source of knowledge. Yeah. For me, because I joined the nation at 16 and I'm over 40, I'll say that. I got, right. I have more years of Islam than not. So naturally, my influence and how I filter things is just, and again, I'm not saying that for anybody that's listening, we are not perfect. Islam is perfect, but we get into perfection as individuals. But the filtering of information coming through a perfect filter of Islam helps me see and helps me critique myself and assess myself in different ways, and look at things differently. And so without that, and I say this, my brother and I always talk about this, I don't know what I would do without the teachings. And a lot of that is just the mindset. Because if you only looking at this world through the way that they want you to look at it,
you're in trouble.
that's why right. People have no hope. And so back to your question, I think the first thing is just assessing your day. What do you do with your time per day? How do you execute? What do you listen to? Do you wake up and pray? Are you centering yourself? Are you setting intentions? Do you write a to-do list? What is it that, how do you move? Do you just walk out the door, and just come back in with no intention throughout your day? Right. So I think it starts there. And then once you're willing to do that, then you're willing to read, right? Or you're willing to take in new information. And I think a lot of times, because we're comfortable in what we know, and that comfortability is what really makes us lose out on life, because we don't want to try things new. We don't want to shake our foundation. I'll share this quick story. I was in high school, and I grew up in the Baptist church. So I from the Bible, and I went to all three. My high school and my two colleges were all Christian or Catholic schools and Lutheran. So I know a little bit about the Bible, King James, just a little bit. But I was in high school and I had a good friend, and I had just came in the nation. So you know how that spirit is, right? You want to tell everybody that they ain't right and all that, right? So she was telling me how she, well, I just believe Jesus. That's it. I don't want to hear nothing else. And I said, well, you only believe Jesus based on hearsay. You only believe Jesus because your parents told you that. You've never even read the Bible. So I was going real hard, and it wasn't necessarily the best delivery. But the point being was, so much of our knowledge of who we are today came from somebody that told us something, right? Or our parents said, well, we're just going to be Baptist, and here's a few scriptures throughout the Bible of the New and maybe one of the Old Testament, and you just got to believe it and then go to church every holiday and you good. And but that's a lot of our, I use the spiritual church as an example, but that's how we are with anything in our lives. Our dietary eating habits comes from most likely how our parents ate. And we didn't think twice to think different. We didn't think, oh, well, let me think outside the box, right? Because we weren't necessarily taught to go against, what was given to us. So we have adults now to this day that haven't even looked in the mirror, haven't even thought about, why do we do what we do? Why does my family have, I'm just going to throw this out there, high blood pressure, and it's just generational. It's in our hair, it's in our DNA. No. Did you ever think that it could be the environment and what you're doing that has created generations of it, that has made it hereditary, as we're taught? After 3 generations, it becomes hereditary. But did we ever look at what causes, so I'm just throwing those things out there to say that first step of self-assessment is just looking at our own individual self, looking at how we spend our time. Why am I the way I am? Why do I like the color blue? I tell children this all the time. Do you even know why you like Jordans? Like, just why do you like Jordans? Do you know why you like this favorite artist? Oh, well, I like their song. Okay, what about the song? Getting people to critically think about their actions and their own thinking. And I think that starts with just, again, looking in the mirror. But there's tools for that, So we were given self-improvement study guides. And I implore everyone to get the self-improvement study guides. Yeah. You can go through all 21 of them, but you can also go through 1 through 5.
Come on now. You're gonna definitely get something out of
One, two,
each.
nine.
You're gonna
Right.
get
Just do 9.
one of them.
Right.
It made me think though when you were talking, sis, that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, and basically in action, you want to take the student end result of what it is they're trying to accomplish. So when you look at your life and say, I want to do this, I want to be that, I want to my life to look like this. When you can see the big picture, then
Yes.
when you do that self analysis, now you have a better idea as to what you need to correct, what you
Come on.
need to change in order
Yes.
to get to that goal. Like you were saying, no, show me your 5 friends and I'll show you your future.
Mm.
That was like, wow. Let me think about 5 of my friends. But I love my friends because most of my friends are Muslim or
Right.
they're goal minded. They
Right.
have an agenda for their life. And I think that's important, really working with our youth is
Yes.
helping them to see the end result. Okay, when you're 50, where do you plan to be? Do you plan to still be hanging out with your friends playing video games? Because if you keep doing that, that's where you're going
Right.
to be at 50.
Yep.
So seeing the big picture can help, at least for me, to
Yes.
see where it is I'm trying to go. Where do I want to be next year? Who do I want to be next year? I want to be a healthier, better person. So I have to do some things in order to make that happen.
Right. Right.
So I thought that was really beautiful the way that you expressed, looking at the people around you, looking at your environment, seeing where you're going.
Right. And I think, can I jump in? Excuse me, brother. Let me say that too. Part of in that book, I started with my foundational facts because I want to make sure that everyone understands where I'm coming from. And just exactly what you said, sis. When you believe that you are a little God, and you have that power, then you're no longer letting things happen to you, right? That's where I say we have to be scientists in our thinking, because when I know that I am in power of my own atmosphere and my own environment, and it's on me to change the energy however I show up, and we do this every day. We walk into a room, if we know we got a bad attitude, no matter what somebody gonna tell you, you just gonna receive it negatively anyway, because something happened before you got into the room. So we practice this God concept all the time, but when it comes to, like you said, setting goals, what's my future plans, that we just throw our hands up and we think we don't have any control over that, right? But no, that's the same concept. And I think that's, again, just back to the book, making sure people have an understanding of where I'm coming from, in terms of, if I truly believe that God is a man, a human being, flesh, blood, like, and I'm of that, then naturally how I think and how I filter things
Mm.
are just going to be different, right? And I think, but also people have to understand that concept, I guess, is what I'm getting at, is that because if you accept that as a reality, then now you're way more obligated to do something with yourself. But if you don't think that you are that of the supreme being, then naturally you just gonna float in life and just exist.
Wow. I remember the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said this. He said, "He who prescribes the diameter, gives you the diameter of your knowledge, prescribes the circumference of your activity."
Mm,
So
there it is.
we just have to think. You were talking about in the beginning of the book about that the number one principle is knowledge. That's the
Yes.
number one principle. And then you went on to wisdom and understanding. That those are the number one, two, and three. Um, but like you say, who's giving us our knowledge? And if we are, as we know, under open enemy,
Come on.
do we expect them to give us the knowledge that's going to help us break the chains of what they did to us?
Come
If
on.
you think that's a reality. It's something wrong with your thinking. So the Bible says, how can they know? You gotta, why is the Bible saying this?
Mm.
How can they know except they have a teacher? And how can they have a teacher, right? Except he be sent.
Come
So, in
on.
other words, the Bible telling you right there, it's a circumstance, a situation, an environment that these people that they're in that's creating what you see, and those who want it are going to continue doing what they're doing unless an outside force interacts with you to help you break away from what it is that they taught you.
Mm-hmm.
Man, so when you said the number one principle is knowledge,
Right.
that's what hit me. I'm like, he
Right.
who prescribes or gives you the diameter of your knowledge,
Yes.
prescribes the circumference of your activity. Then you went on to talk about how you have to test your knowledge. You
Yes.
have to test it and see how it's working for you. How did that work when you did that? How did that work when we did this? But most of us are reactive people. See, we like you say, we got the reactive mind, but we are reactive people.
Right.
Meaning, oh, okay, it's a fire now. Now I got to run out of the door and get out of here. Huh?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a reactionary thing, and not being proactive. You know, and we have to, like you said, we have to assess where we're getting our information. Here's some food for thought, just
Mm-hmm.
really quick. What did we think when God would come to save a people, right, that had been oppressed? Did we think that he was going to come in the beginning and say, okay, everybody come on? No, because he's coming with a specific focus in the beginning. I, me, I'm your God, and you're my people. Submit, and I'll raise you to eminence. That don't mean I'm gonna forget everybody else, but because of what you went through,
Right.
this is what you've earned. And now I want to put you on the top of civilization since you're at the bottom now. But did we think for a minute that when God came that he was going to give you the universal first before he operated on the mind of the sick people? See what I'm saying?
Right.
Did we think that? And so if you're looking in your scripture and it's talking about a people that was a slave for 400 years, Moses didn't come and say, all right, Pharaoh, come on, let's go. God came. No, he said, let my people go. So in that should give us a sign that the person that's coming is gonna be different than
Right.
what it is that we've heard before. Yeah, just something to think about.
Yes, sir. Come on. That's right.
Make a comment.
Okay.
Assalamualaikum everybody. Assalamualaikum Sister Imani.
Walaikum salam.
Uh, my name is Brother Jami Muhammad. Sorry, Brother Jami Muhammad. Um, and I just was thinking about what you were saying about how you're the only person really controlling your reality. Um, and as a youth in the nation, sometimes you just say it in your head over and over again. You the one that's supposed to control your reality, but you sitting there letting stuff happen to you, like you were saying. It's just about managing your time better, and like you were saying, and you know, getting yourself out of the prison that you put yourself in. So, like for me,
Mm,
I understand that I have to detach myself from my phone more, like unless it's for business purposes, because with everything else that I have, waste time on. For
mhm.
video games and stuff, I don't play the video games like that. It's mostly my phone now. It's
Right.
mostly my phone that's been like sucking me in, and I'm on there every 5 seconds, and I'm like, I know this is my weakness. I need to get my weakness away from me, because
Hmm.
it's like if you know your weakness is like, let's say potato chips or something, right? Don't put them on the refrigerator and expect yourself to be like, I'm not going to eat potato chips.
Right.
Yeah. Until you get to a point where like you don't need it no more. Like for me, my weakness used to be popcorn.
Hmm.
Well, I'm not gonna say I'm not weak to it, but I'm can be tempted, but I don't have to eat it no more
Right. Right.
because I understand that's bad for my health. You just have to make sure to change, like you were saying, to change your life around. And what's the name of your youth group again?
Youth. So it's
Wow.
youth organized and united to help. So youthpdx.org is the website. Or we have another website, books, not bars, or.org.
Okay.
Okay.
Kids. But this was a really inspirational fireside chat, to be honest with you.
Yes.
And I pray that I take this information and use it. But I ain't gonna just pray; I'm gonna do it, because that's another issue. People like, you need to pray, but you also need to be like, I'm gonna do
Yes.
it today.
That's
Come
right.
on, brother.
That's right. Today
Yes,
is
that's
your
right.
day.
Praise be to Allah. Can I just add to what the brother said?
Man.
Thank you for that, because I wanted, that's the whole first step is the awareness piece. Like the brother said, how much time do we spend on our phone? Is our habits, eating habits, I like popcorn. I mean, not popcorn, but I like my potato chips too. But are we aware of it? Like that's where change can happen. It's just the awareness piece, brother. And so when he said that, that's a lot of times just step one. And
Right.
doing things in moderation, right? So again, I saw a meme that my sister posted, and I think I said it earlier, but Islam is perfect. Muslims are not. Don't get it confused, right?
Right.
Now, that doesn't give us an exemption to not strive to be perfect. Let me say that for those in the back. We got to strive to be perfect. But at the same time, we're going to make mistakes.
Right.
We're not going to always eat one meal every other day and only eat navy beans and whole wheat bread and whole milk. Like, come on, let's be real. Now there
Right.
are those that are, and may God continue to bless them, right?
Right.
But also what we don't want to do, and this is what I want to say to the brother, we don't want to flip it and beat ourselves up when we're not doing what we know we should be doing. Because that's the
Right.
other piece to self-esteem, and the other piece to the psychology of our mind is that we can get ourselves so much in a rut and
Mm-hmm.
beat ourselves up, especially when we have knowledge, right? When we know knowledge.
Right.
But also the application of the knowledge becomes the wisdom and then the understanding piece. And a lot of times we have a lot of knowledge, but we haven't learned how to apply it. And then we beat ourselves up because we say we know, but we haven't really practiced the tools and the habits to make the change in our lives. And so a lot of times our people, we get depressed, we get sad, we're like, oh, I know I'm supposed to do better, but and part of that is just because we haven't learned the tools to do differently. So that's the other piece too I want us to share for the young people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you may know, but also don't beat yourself up for falling short, right?
Right.
Those, we're not losing, we're learning, right?
That's
These
right.
are lessons. So every time we get to another level of degree of knowledge, there's a stronger struggle, right? A struggle, or a higher degree of struggle. But that's only for us to learn and to continue to grow in it and not fall down and not get back up. And I learned another sentence I love is we don't go through life, we grow through life, right?
That's
If
right.
we're growing through life, then all these things that we're learning along the way just help us perfect the human being that we are.
Very well said, beloved. That is so important because I think a lot of when we're younger, we spend so much time beating ourselves up that by the time we get to our 30s, we wore out, and so of course by the time you 40, 50, you just don't care anymore. So,
Right.
I think if we start out younger, understanding that we grow through life, this is a journey. It's a process of learning. We live in an imperfect world, and we're striving to be one with God in this imperfect world. So, because there are so many temptations and elements in the universe that
Hmm.
we have to, deal with, we still strive. every day to be our absolute best, to be one with
Yes.
God, and then when we don't meet our goal, then we learn from that. And then the next time we're faced with that, we'll pass because
Right.
we learn
Right.
instead of, oh, I'm horrible. I did terrible. I didn't, you know, do this right. So then
Mm-hmm.
time it comes up, oh, I'm gonna fail because I failed before.
Yep.
Instead of
Yep.
learning the lesson that, you know, of what we experienced to say,
Right.
oh, okay, I made a big mistake. I didn't
Right.
like the way I felt after that. I'm not doing that one again. And be okay with that. Forgive
Yes.
yourself, so that we can move on. The art of living is such a beautiful title. And it's such beautiful words for us to really parse, so that we can see that this is what God has given us so beautiful. It is artwork. The body itself,
Mm. Come on.
is just
Yes.
complete art. The way that we're able to heal our own self, from the mind, you know, putting the right words in our mind, the knowledge, like you said, sister, having that information in our head, because I deal with a lot of people who are dealing with illness.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times the mindset,
Yep.
I'm sick, you've accepted it. You accepted that this is my reality. Nothing else is going to change. I'm on 9 pills and
Yep.
I'm still going to eat my bacon. See, your mind is messed up.
Right.
You got to get that
Yes.
right knowledge, and live on the word of God. See, when I don't know, it talks about in the Bible about the water,
Mm-hmm.
the mind
Mm-hmm.
being on the water or something like. I'm sorry,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not perfect with scripture, but what I understood was
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is that when you think on God and think on His words and think on His spirit and His energy, and then you envelop yourself in that.
Yes.
See, that's where the art of living lives.
Come on.
Right.
That's right.
Well, I want to do one more quote, and then we gonna let you close out with some final words. All right. All
Yes, sir.
right. So I hope y'all ready for this one. This was definitely one of my favorites out of the book. Now she says, "Knowledge without wisdom is dead. The Bible says faith without works is dead. Think about this. Have you ever met a very intelligent person, but they cannot provide for their basic needs? They can tell you the science behind the earth and teach you mathematics about everything, yet their life does not represent the knowledge they have. That is what I mean by saying knowledge without wisdom is dead. Just another smart minded person who is stagnant in life. As you gain knowledge, you have to apply it and try out what you know. Otherwise, you lose the knowledge you may have gained. Look at that. So,
Mm.
knowledge without wisdom is dead. Wow, that reminds me of a Wu Tang song. No, no, it's a song. He
It
said,
is. It is.
he says, he says, on the corner of the block, I knew this old man, the black immigrant from the land of Sudan, who used to tell knowledge to the children in the building, but never had a dollar to keep his pockets filled. And he bombed on Deuteronomy, the science of astronomy, didn't know the basic principles about economy. See, the Bible
Mm.
don't play the role of a fool. The first thing of the man was to tame 12 Jews. See, I won't go into the rest of it,
Come
but
on. Come
what
on
he
now.
said, it's in that verse.
Yes. Come
What
on
he
now.
said is in that verse.
Right.
Look, look, here it is.
You done said it right there.
I find it interesting, right, in the lessons that problem number 13 is mentioned twice. So it's
Mm.
mentioned in the rules of instruction. And then as you get out of coming into lesson, before you get to lesson number 2, it's mentioned again. So it says that after learning Islam,
mathematics. Come
which
on.
is mathematics. And
Yes.
mathematics is Islam. You must learn to use your mathematical theology to secure some good in this life. Money, luxury, good home, friendships, and all walks of life. Now,
Mm,
as you said,
mm.
when you get this knowledge, right? Now you got to learn how to utilize it, get the wisdom and the understanding now of how you can actually take this and, as you said, give monetization to it. Not that everything is about money, but so that you can be in the comfortable position that you can create. If I don't have to worry about bills and the car note and gas and all of these things, I might could think about the next book I'm gonna write.
Come on.
I might could think about the next big business venture. But if I'm chasing the dollar all the time, see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So we haven't been taught the science of business or how to use our life gifts, right? To be able to acquire things in this life. And a lot of us, it's so hard, it's so this, it's so that. How many people we know that don't have the greatest education, but they become rich beyond belief because they just said, well, this is a great product, you should get it. And they don't really have all the science to how they did it,
Right.
but they did it. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
Absolutely.
you could touch on what you said right there.
Well, you just you came with my hip hop influence. So, you probably picked up on some of that in the art of living because hip hop is okay. Um it's you know what? No, I'm honored I love that that's what came up for you because in my journey, I traveled to New York in 2003.
Okay.
And I visited the Allah School, Nation of Gods and Earth
wow.
out there. So it's interesting that Wu Tang. We already know Wu Tang's influence on the game. Yeah. Exactly. Come on. So yes, I think one of the things, and it's funny that that's the quote that you came to because as sister and I were talking, and as I was listening to the young brother, I was thinking of that part in the book where I talked about the smart minded people, and so you went there. So, so much of what we do in life is gain information, right? And again, and our goal is what do you do with that information? What are you doing with it? And I say this too, and this is for the believers. How can we say our God is our God, and we don't look no different than those who say God is a spirit, right? So if our lifestyle don't look no different, then don't tell me about supreme wisdom. Don't tell me about your supreme mathematics. None of that matters if your expression, your outward expression of life doesn't look any different than a brother or sister who has no knowledge at all. So for me, that's what I mean by that too, is that if we're not securing some benefit for ourselves, good homes, money, luxury, friendships in all walks of life, what the God gave us, if that doesn't manifest in our personal lives as individuals, then we should just be quiet with what we know until we really can manifest that. And why do I say that? Because again, it doesn't do anybody good to be a library of information and not an executor of your words of your library.
Go ahead.
If I'm sitting here telling you about business, but I don't own one business, I don't have no LLC, don't have a bank account. Like, come on. And I think that's the spirit of that quote in there is literally just that. I remember Sister Ava said, we are the most talked to people, right? And I said this earlier, we got so many scholars and scientists and just intelligence. We are a beautiful people, right? We can science with the best of them. But again, if that science don't produce something physical
Right.
that people can see, that, oh, that knowledge changed your life and here's what I see, that testimony don't line up, then we just need to be quiet and we need to just work. And that's where I think for me, and this, and I'm saying all this, let me say this for everybody. All of these words are for me first, then others, right? I'm not saying this sitting on a pedestal, you know, in Dubai with all of my millions and riches and houses. I am talking to me first, then others. So that became my challenge too. Is that as I'm talking to you, I'm looking at my bookshelf. I have so many books, right? So much information in there. I could probably create a whole civilization if I read every last one of them books, right? A whole civilization.
Yes.
You know, but I had to ask myself, okay, Imani, what are you doing with these books? Okay, you got a book on economics. Have you opened it yet? Right? Like, why do you struggle with money? What is your relationship with money? Right? And so I had to have these conversations with myself of, okay, starting with a base knowledge, starting with information. So I say all that to say, and it's a challenge for all of us, is that, you know, those 3 steps, and I can science up that problem 13, and I'm gonna do it real quick because I gotta say it. You know, we talk about the numbers, right? So knowledge, wisdom, understanding, 1, 2, and 3. If we talk about the knowledge and wisdom, right? So step 1, step 2, you add 1 and 2, you get 3. So that's easy mathematics. And the third step is that understanding. When you start talking about the problem book and bring in that problem 13, well, 1 plus 3 is 4. And we are taught that 4 is foundation. So when you get from knowledge, wisdom, and understanding in that intellectual conceptualized pieces, then you can begin to manifest the foundation, which is that physical piece. Because I truly believe, like Sister said earlier, that mind, right? We're 70% of water, and water is a sign of life. And we learned that water on the planets is a sign of life too. So as long as you have water in your body, and of course some blood and some other stuff, you're living, right? And so that mind is where we reside with information. That mind is where we get the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. It starts here. But once we have those 3 steps, then we start executing. And the execution to me is that foundation. Step 4 is producing. Right. So now we take what we know and we should start seeing some evidence of what we know. And that evidence can be as small as doing for self. That evidence can be as small as, controlling our diet, being healthy. Right. It can be as small as just being able to pray 5 times a day. Right. It can be those execution pieces. It also can be as big as building a hospital for your people. You know, that execution can be as big as building a grocery store and all the things. So, but again, everything that we're talking about is also about step 1, self-awareness. Know who you are first. Be willing to critique yourself. Be willing to analyze, assess, and then put people around you that are going to help correct you, not appease you.
Right.
That's when we're talking about our friendships, our friendship groups. I don't want nobody around me that's going to keep me in my own filth or sin.
Right.
I need people to be my fan of when I'm doing wrong. I need people to correct me when I'm doing wrong. And then at times throw their hands up and say, if you don't change, I can't be around you. And we got to be that to one another because that's the accountability piece.
Right.
That holds us accountable to the information that we say we know. And then, in the nation, it's easier to do that because, we got our restrictive laws. We have different tools that help us help each other. Right. So, I love this conversation. I know we could be here for a while. But I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to just expound and have further conversations about what I truly believe was inspiration. I do most of my work being inspired. And then once the inspiration comes, I'm like, oh, I got to put the things around it. That's how the nonprofit came about. That's how the different things that I've been blessed to vision and come through with the help of Allah has always been inspiration. And then from there, I'm like, okay, I said I was going to do what? Okay, I need to, what's step 1?
Now it's time to make it happen.
But that's the beauty of I truly believe that's the beauty of living and not existing,
Yes,
and following that spirit that I believe that God has given all of us. We just have to tap into it, hear it more, and then again be around people that will feed the spirit and not kill the spirit. And
Right.
so, I hope that people, grab the book. It's on the website. It's on sale for $19.19. But also use it for your young people, right? I didn't write the book for adults. I mean, I wrote it for everyone, but I always have young people in mind because I'm always committed to, if we can get young people to critically think about their life early, then they will begin to not follow trends. They will begin to set their own path in life and
Right.
have limited influence of others, because that's where it starts. Our young people are just following whatever's been told to them. If we
Mm-hmm.
can get them to stop down and think about who they are, think about why they like what they like, think about, just think, critically
Right.
think, then we can have a different generation and different outcome. So
Right.
grab the book, do a fireside chat with your family, with the
That's
book,
right. That's
over
right.
dinner.
Read
But
it together. Be
yes,
have literacy in our own
have
home
literacy. That's right.
with our
Absolutely.
youth. It really says I'm so grateful because when we have these kind of conversations, it makes me appreciate the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that much more. And I
Yes.
look at him as an individual and how he had to assess himself and then submit himself to the goodness of God. And then he brought so much into existence
Mm.
with the paper, with businesses. He manifest,
Yes.
and that's what we want to do. That's the art of living, is manifesting the best in ourselves and creating that world that we really want to see.
Come on.
Because I know personally I'm sick of what I see around me. I want this new world. When we go to Savior's Day and all of the believers are there and everybody's in their own little rooms and hotels, but it's like our world.
It's heaven.
It truly is. And I see that for us. Therefore, that's what I work for. And I know that's what the minister works for. And
Yes.
all of the believers are working for. And so instilling this in our youth. And this year we saw it, 2020, because
Mm-hmm.
Savior's Day was handled by
2021.
2021. Thank you. Was
Mm-hmm.
handled by our youth. And it was
Mm-hmm.
so beautifully done. It was a wonderful Savior's Day.
Yes.
And I still saw the world, even though we physically wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw
Mm-hmm.
that. And so we do have to share this information with our children, our grandchildren. A lot of our audience is about our age. And so when I express to us that we're responsible for our grandbabies,
Yes.
we have to pass this knowledge down. We have to have these conversations with them. Not that the parents aren't, but we're a part of it.
Right.
And so we have to share. So when we find brothers and sisters that have taken their time and their energy and their inspiration and have put together something that we can share, oh, we love you. And we love to have you on our show.
Thank
We
you.
will not let this be the last time.
That's right.
Yes. Thank
As you
you.
continue to do your work, sis, you want to reach out to us and let us know so that we can share it with others. We will definitely do that.
We
Thank
definitely
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
so I just want to say this. First off, thank you. Thank you for being with us. But not only that, thank you for your book.
Yes.
Because so many of us we procrastinate
Mm.
and it's always been there. But you took the time, whether it was a sentence at a time or 20 paragraphs, and stop for 3 days, however your process went, you did it. And it don't matter if it's 15 pages or 2,000.
Come on.
You did that. So a big congratulations to you. All praises due to Allah, and definitely, we appreciate it because I'm reading. I'm like, this girl is dropping jewels on here. I'm not gonna be talking about what cause you to write it and all that. We'll get that. I wonder, okay, expound on this.
Yes. Praise be to
That.
Allah. Yes. Yes.
You know, so
Thank
we
you.
got a book getting ready to come out too. Well, I wrote it years ago, and it was like you, inspired by Allah to do it. I mean, literally, the book flowed through me, and my wife said, "Well, it's time now to go ahead and publish it. It's been done for quite some time." But initially, my beautiful wife was supposed to write her part, but she decided.
So well written. It was so well written that it didn't need anything from me.
Right. That's right.
So initially, but that's what we're gonna be doing. So you'll be seeing it probably a little later this month. We just gonna start with the conversation and everything like that. The book is written, and we're gonna do what we need to do to get it out there. But you definitely have inspired that. I was gonna do it, but you pushed it over the edge with me reading and like you said, not being a man of just holding the knowledge. Go ahead and put it out there. You know, document it. You said
Right.
documentation is important among us, especially 35 and up, right?
Right. It's real. Yes. Come on now.
35 and
Come
up.
on.
So,
Yes.
as you can see, I actually did read your
You
book.
did, brother. You really did. And I keep saying sometimes you forget what you wrote. And so I'm like, yes, brother, thank you. Yes, I'm honored. Thank you. Yes.
Man, well, again, it says if you got any closing words, please tell everybody how they can get the book. I did put it in the chat, and also about your youth organization. But let us know how we can get in contact with you and any closing remarks that you have. We appreciate you. We thank Allah for you. May Allah continue to bless you. I got a reason to come to Oregon now.
There we go. That's right. Yep. And just a quick trip, a couple days.
Yeah. Yes,
Absolutely.
man. So I'm gonna give way for that.
Absolutely. Well, once again, thank you all. Thank the listeners for tuning in. This is a beautiful, beautiful show. Fireside Chat, and I definitely want to come back and we could talk about all types of things. But I love the conversation, love the energy. These are now my brothers and sisters. And for anyone that wants to get the book, head over to Traveling Pillar, Traveling with 1L, Pillar with 2. That is my business. You also need some incense, some soap, some crystals, some sage, whatever else. Feel free to, Yeah.
That's the queen of rap right there.
You better stop it.
Okay, well, yep, there you go. Yes, there we go. I already saw that. I said, okay. So head on over to Traveling Pillar and get what you need. While you over there, go ahead and grab the Art of Living book. And I'm just your sister out here, just doing the work. And I love, like I said, working with the young people. So if you want to just connect with me, feel free to email me. But again, thank you all for having me. And I will leave you all with this. Everyone has a book. We are a book. Every one of us has a testimony. And I don't care what your walk of life is, we are obligated. And I say this because I truly believe this. We are obligated to tell our story because you and I and everyone that is living make up the creator. We are Allah, right? We make up the creator. We represent the 99 plus attributes of Allah. And so it is on us to tell our story. Yeah. My journey is my journey, but my journey helps someone else that has a similar journey, that had something similar. And those similarities is what sparks interest. And then that interest is what sparks desire and will. And all of that is what we need to be able to execute. And so all of us, tell your story. I don't care if you don't want to write it, that's fine. What did I do? I transcribed an interview. I didn't write them all those words. Like I did not sit at the computer and type every last one of those words. About 30 of those pages was a transcription of an interview. So nobody can tell me I don't have time to write. You may not, but you got time to talk. So
Right.
let's transcribe your words. So there's no
Oh,
excuse nowadays. It's 2021. No excuse. We all have the ability to tell our story because you have no idea how your story may help someone
Someone else.
change their life. So that's what I would say and leave everybody with that. And may Allah continue to bless us. And
Yes.
we have won the victory. We just got to walk into
Just
the
gotta walk
path.
into it. That's
Yes.
right. All praises due to Allah. Well,
Yes.
that was so awesome, sister. I love the
Yes.
fireside chat. I look forward to our next conversation,
Yes.
which you could come to the next show if you like,
Let's
which
go.
is it's called Love My Kidneys. It is a show that we started about a year ago because I started on dialysis. I was diagnosed in
Mm.
2014 with chronic kidney disease, and I have been winning the battle ever since.
I know that's right.
Continue to win the battle, and like you say, I tell my story, my journey, so that I can help others understand that if we do things naturally and
Come on.
create a natural environment for ourselves and have the right mindset, the body will heal itself. God is
Mm.
that kind of good that
Right.
He has designed us to be healers of our own selves
go ahead.
and healers of others. So we started that show, and in about 30 minutes, we'll be doing the show called Love My Kidneys. It's on Facebook. So you can go to Love My Kidneys and tune in, share. And then at 3 o'clock, we have the Queen of Rap,
Uh-oh.
which is me, Nafiza Ali. Um, I design natural healing stones. Well, I don't design the stones, but I wrap
Journey.
them in copper, sterling silver. And I had a conversation yesterday that a sister might be ready for some gold. So,
Yes.
Allah has really blessed me to explore some things with Mother Tynetta and crystals. So that's another show, and we're gonna have a conversation, beloved.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Selling crystals,
Yeah. Let's
bringing the crystal giants together.
That's right.
have
That's
you
right.
so I know we gotta go, but have you connected with Sister Sadia out of Houston with
No, ma'am.
her stay hold on, right there. Stay right there.
Okay.
Hold on, hold on.
No praises due to Allah. See, this is what we do, fam, in the
All
nation. We be
right.
Right.
connected. We be
So look,
connected.
Ooh,
you
she
see
do
this
organize.
organites.
Oh, that's a
Ah,
nice, beautiful
that's
one.
beautiful too.
So she does custom made. Anyway, that's for the show. We gonna talk
Okay.
about this on the other show.
Okay.
Come
Yes,
on now.
ma'am.
Come on now. Let's set it up.
Praise
Well,
be to Allah.
yes, we're going to go ahead and close this out so that we can start preparing for the next show. But again, it is truly a pleasure. Our spirits have now connected.
That's right.
Yes,
So we are going to continue building and growing and making our world a better world.
that's right.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
So, assalamu alaikum, friends and family. You all have an
Walaikum
awesome rest of the day. And inshallah, we'll see you on Love My Kidneys.
All right, sis. Send us your cash app so we can send you the money for the book that you already gave us.
Oh, praise be to Allah. Thank you. Absolutely.
We'll
Assalamu
see you
alaikum.
1919.
That's right.
Yes.
All
Assalamu
right.
alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
No, no, no. Don't do that. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, family. What a wonderful conversation that we have had with our beautiful sister, Sister Imani. And if you don't have that book, The Art of Living, as you see, you definitely need to get it. We want to give a shout out to Mina Love. Assalamu alaikum to you, to Brother LaBoy Wiggins. Want to give a shout out. I don't know who all else was on. But we thank you so much for tuning in with us. We appreciate it. Sorry about the echo. We don't know what happened, but we got to keep moving forward. No need to shut it down. Just keep on moving, okay? You're going to have that. This is real. This is live and in full effect, okay? So, family, once again, we just want to mention about the Pax Immune right here. If you don't have yours, you should definitely get it for you and your household. We are proud distributors of the Pax Immune. We already did mention the Final Call newspaper, so if you don't subscribe, then we definitely want you to do that. You can Google finalcalldigital.com or adopt a Muslim in your neighborhood. All right, and they'll be glad to bring you that final call each and every week. All right, family. So again, we thank you so much for tuning in with us. Come on over and join us on Love My Kidneys. In a few minutes, we're going to go into part two of how to eat to live and disaster preparedness. You don't want to miss that one. We're going to have a few words by our brother Nuri Muhammad, and we're going to continue on in that conversation. So come on over to Love My Kidneys right here on Facebook. We'll be starting in about 34 minutes. We look forward to seeing you there. We love you all, and there's nothing you can do about it. As our brother Jake says, we love you. And remember to be the best because you are the best, and to continue to let the spark in your mind create a new reality. All right, family. Inshallah, we'll see you over at Love My Kidneys. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.